Welcome back to some of the most professional StarCraft 2 there is. From the TeamLiquid Starleague number 7, a highlight match featuring one of their star players and one looking to snuff it out. Let me first introduce to you in the top left, the fastest Terran in the West. The man who's broken out of his shell to become the rising star. The Frenchman with several hundred APM more than I could even dream of. It's Clem. And in the bottom right, looking to put a stop to all of that, a Titan on the scene for the better part of a decade. The GSL champion, the world champion. No mercy and no respect for players who challenge him. It's the final boss. It's Doc. I don't know exactly what happens in this match, but I have it on good authority. Just based on the players and based on the match, it's a little different, but very much the same. That sounds like you're saying very much nothing, Winter. Well, one, that's why we're here, and two, Dark is well known for doing unorthodox, well, not so much unorthodox strategies as getting away with things that other players just are entirely uncomfortable with. Playing a low economy Zerg style, focusing more on 3 bases, getting to hive tech and lurkers or vipers, working with unit compositions that other players find unwieldy or unviable. Clem, on the other hand, is almost an aggressively Terran. You've got Marines, tanks, maybe some mines and medevacs. Of course, you've got the Reaper micro at the start of the game, which, I mean, never really seems to accomplish anything, but also, like, Clem and his protege, well, his mentor, really, in spirit or in practice, Beyond, seems to look so good. Looks like Clem going to start this off with 3 command centers here, using the Reaper as the only thing really buffering. Tried to get the creep tumor. Queens. Karen, how many times do we have to be over this? You stay on the creep. But the Reaper! I'm sorry. Clem's Reaper being as annoying as we'd expect it to be, as effective as we'd expect it to be, and as ineffective as we knew it was going to be. Dark did make 6 lings. I don't know if that's just a Dark thing or a sign of respect. Usually players will make 4 lings, but Clem's Reaper, I think, demands 6. But Dark never one to shirk his defenses. A lot of the times, especially against lesser players, and a lot of the times that has meant non-Korean players, Dark has been one who is very quick on the draw with an early roach push, some sort of quick lair timing, but in a match against Clem, I don't think he sees Clem as a pushover. I don't think anyone sees Clem as a pushover, but Dark is actually making 16 more Zerglings right now. Clem barely has anything behind this. He has a handful of Hellions, 16 more links. He loses the Reaper as well. The Reaper, a nice little kicker here. But this is actually, never mind. I take it all back. I take it back. Pretend I edit it out. This one's for YouTube, Jimmy. We can edit. I'm sure we'll have edited. Like and subscribe for editing. Dark is hiding the Zerglings, slipping them out of the base. Clem has no vision, especially with losing that Reaper. He doesn't have the little bit of buffer for the Hellions. He's just going to try to jump him. Wow. Okay, so exactly the opposite of what I said. I said Dark respects Clem. He's not going to try to just kill him. Dark, no respect, and a bunch of Zerglings. The oldest trick in the entire book. A strategy so old that players who have never played StarCraft know what it is. It's a Zerg rush. The Zerglings coming in, but Clem has already transitioned into Marines. He's got the firepower, the stopping power, the SCVs in the front line. They hold the door and drive the Zerglings back. 7 SCVs go down, but really, in the grand scheme of things, Clem's scared of more coming up. Just the pseudo wall, actually losing more Zerglings, more Marines here to the Zerglings than I would have expected. Jimmy, just for a moment. Can we have a talk? What? I can't... Over the music, yes. Okay, thank you. Why do we do this every time? Edit it out. So Dark is still making Zerglings. I mean, I said he was the low economy Zerg. He's comfortable in a lower drone count, but that was just appallingly little damage. He lost 46 Zerglings for 8 SCVs. A handful. How many Marines? 3 Marines. That's it. Clem has 2 medevacs. He's got a 3rd CC landing. He's now very much taking out that Overlord on the pervert pillar there. But Dark's Zergling Gambit did not pay off because Clem had already transitioned heavily into the Bio Army. And now, with a relatively even worker count on both sides, the only thing Dark has going for him is he did get that Evo chamber early on. Does he even have a lair? The lairless hatch tech Zerg. Dark really embracing that low-income, high-unit style. A cinematic Zerg. But over time, going to become less and less cost-effective against the Bio Army. Marines standing their ground. Queens looking to push back the medevacs. The knitting crew coming together. Dark slapping down a 4th hatchery before getting a lair. I'm sorry, I take it back. That's a 5th. It's a 5th hatchery. Gonna have plenty of larvae. He's playing a mass Zergling style. I say that like there's punctuation on the end. No punctuation. Lots of punctuation. We'll see how it ends. Okay. Alright. Alright. Okay. Ah, yes. Like the good old days. I thought we had the orchestra under control. They're loose trumpets. Marines get a little caught. Clem able to snap most of them up. Probably surprised just by the sheer Zergling count. This is a very dark move. And I'm not talking like the gritty reboot of some sort of 3rd movie remake this generation. No. Dark so willing, much more so than other Zergs, to just cut that drone count and make units. A lot of Terrans will rely on a Zerg trying to get every edge to get drones out. Dark tries to cut every one of those edges into another set of Zerglings. He's got +2, +1 on the way. He's going Mass Ling Bane. More medevacs on the way out. Clem gonna be working both angles. The one thing that Zerglings don't have despite their wings is a whole lot of mobility or ability to take down medevacs. +1, +1's on the way. Armory lining up. Clem not expecting to end this on 1-1. He's locking down his bases, starting to understand the gravity of the situation, the magnitude of the Zerglings. Right now, 67 Zerglings have been lost, but there are 100 Zerglings on the field, and Dark is far from max. The mass, overwhelming swarm. Whereas Clem gonna work. Let's go to the Clem action cam. This is always a fun one. Try to keep up. I think we started on Dark's announcer pack, so we got Korean, but I doubt Clem is playing in Korean, but who knows. Alright, working the northern angle. He's got 2-2 started. Drilling Claws on the way, realizing that Widow Mines are going to be the way to go against this many Zerglings. Marines moving up towards the north, adding on production. Dipping back, trying to draw the Lings and Banes out of position. It's not going to work out. A couple of the Hellions turn into Hellbats at the front, but with 1-1 done, he's got the great splits, but a huge counterattack at the front. Burrowing some of the Widow Mines, dealing with the counterattack. Splits on both sides, Banelings rolling through. Clem trying to stop the bleeding, while also dealing some damage out on his own. Somehow managing to minimize, well, I take it back. Dark broke through. But a lot of Zerglings have broken through. Clem has lost track of the situation. And while it looked like he was trying to manage everything at once, Dark is everywhere and nowhere. 179 Zerglings lost, but now 32 SCVs. Refineries burn. Not that you need much gas at this stage of the game as a biomine Terran player, but 79 drones now. Dark found his drones. He simply had to rip away a couple dozen SCVs to get them. With Hydras coming up, so one thing to point out, Dark does not have a hive on the way. He's playing a very mass ling and list style. Once again, a little outdated. The Hydras themselves have not been seeing as much play as things like Lurkers, and just getting to, and even Mutas have made their way back in. But the Hydraling Bane, just to leverage that overwhelming economy, drilling claws, widow mine shots, 20 drones! Overwhelming, terrible, terrible damage. Down they go. Oh, Widow Mines work both ways. Obliterating Clem's Marines. They turn the tides on both sides. And it's the Marines as well as the drones who die. The Marines slammed by the Widow Mine shots. The Zerglings expendable. Those Marines not as much. The medevacs themselves are badly bruised, and we all know how much of an aversion Terran players have to repairing those things. We got Dark working his way towards the hatch on the high ground. If he can get to a rich Vespine base, well, Clem's in a rough position, but as is typical for Clem, despite all of this, despite how it looks like his armies are getting beaten back, he's dealt enough damage, like surgical damage, all right, as surgical as an explosive mine can be, and Marines with drugs and guns can be. He's managed to get enough damage to keep Dark one off Hive Tech, so off ranged Lurkers, off Vipers, I guess, would also be in the equation, but right now, Dark, while he's done a lot to Clem, remember Banelings, now this is a tragic story. Banelings can only attack once. And whenever those Banelings get Marine kills, they also get Baneling kills. Meanwhile, Clem, despite taking a bruising on the other side, he rolls with the punches, and now he's got 3-3 on the way. He's got Ghosts. He's got 4 going on 5 command centers. He's got 73 SCVs. He's got 185 supply, and he's got a very real shot of a deadly +3/+3 push. Zerglings aren't going to cut it. 119 lings. Dark has maintained hundreds of Zerglings in this game, and it hasn't been enough. Now, this brute force style keeps working right up until the Terran stabilizes on this sort of army composition. The closer Clem gets to 200 supply, the harder it's going to get to break. And right now, Clem is about as close as you can get to 200 supply without scratching it outright. Widowmine still finding connections, adding up damage, winning the war of attrition, but Clem still somewhat on creep. Hydras, Lings, and Banes, oh my! The tank's overwhelmed. The bio driven back. The ghosts involved, and most of them now dead forever. Widowmine's trying to be negated by some of those Zerglings. Are successfully. Medevacs forced back. Still target. Well, Widowmine's killing Medevacs and Zerglings alike. Dark driving him all the way back towards the main. Dark continuing forward. Oh, Lurkers! I saw the Lurker den. He's using those lair tech Lurkers, not well known for their cost effectiveness, but they are effective enough. Clem coming in with the snipes, able to get a couple, loses the scan, and loses the 4th. He still has a Widow Mine denying a 4th. Clem beaten back. His hubris undercut by the strength of Dark's push, willing, even when cornered, to jump him on the middle of the field. Dark, once again, not sitting back and trying to tech up, but looking for an opportunity to take the initiative right back out of Clem's hand. Lurkers scrambling past Widow Mines in a weird, like, cousins from another entire civilization situation. What a game so far. 400 Zerglings lost in 15 minutes. I'm not sure the math on that. And I'm not sure the Zerg are big on numbers, but...
The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you.
Dark in a rough spot if we're doing any sort of math on that. Now, he hasn't lost that much more in the way of resources. The problem still remains that Clem has the unit composition. He has the ghost production. He had the command centers. He's maintaining all this while the lurkers are going to be incredibly annoying. Hive tech on the way. Dark has not been able to easily secure his bases. His creep spread has been beaten back and swept away. Clem can't seem to find a scan as he dropped all his, he dropped a lot of mules and is now in a very awkward position of not being able to scan a single lurker. And that means the entire how many Zerglings do you have? 144 Zerglings. Oh my god. Oh, there's just lurkers everywhere. How do you like it, Mr. Widowmine Man? Clem's just microing against a single lurker. It's doing, like, lurkers much more expensive than Widowmines. Much to the dismay of Zergs. But 158 Zergs, this is insane. That's not like, oh my god, this is so crazy. No, like, that's actually so many Zerglings. It's hard to make this many Zerglings really do anything. It's a lot of... If the fight goes well, it's going to go really well, and if it doesn't, it really doesn't. If a critical mass of bio is in position, and the ghosts and marines are able to stand their ground, there's just not that many Banes. That's usually how you fill out the army. There's only 9 Banelings to 160 Zerglings. The Widowmine, desperately trying to find something to hit, hits the best thing it possibly could, which is all of the Banelings. But are there the numbers? Can Clem stand his ground? Dark supply plummeting as this fight starts. Binding Cloud, they just step right through it. Down goes the command center, but Dark's army evaporates because Zerglings are quite literally the most flimsy unit in the game. That's why you get them in packs of 2. Buy one, get one free. If I was better at marketing. So it appears that massive amounts of units that die in 2 hits to ghosts are not cutting it. That Widowmine earning its keep, as Widowmines often do. Another round of Zerglings diving in towards the economy. This one going to be a little more effective as Widowmines and Zerglings alike combining to obliterate SCVs. Command center forced to lift. +3/+3 across the board. Adrenal glands, all Hive Tech Lurker upgrades. We have been speed running up the tech tree despite the amount of aggression of both sides. About as high powered as a match can get. Massive economies, despite how much damage has been done. Every piece of relevant tech, despite how much the economies have been interrupted, they've been able to maintain enough infrastructure. 87 drones to 68 SCVs, but with mules to bring it in line, and they're still both nearly at 200 supply. They both keep expanding to opposite corners, unable to bring enough to bear to critically damage the other. The army composition of Clem keeps looking very good, but the overwhelming force of Dark keeps finding an opportunity to keep it at bay. But Clem now has command centers across the map. Widowmines to slow things down. Lings and Banes closing the distance. Planetary down. SCVs forfeit. Hatchery in the top right. Down for the count. Dark looking for more SCVs. Clem down to 43 and has questionable mining on the left side of the map. He was able to deny one base. The semi-seed line, 31 SCVs go down, still 87 drones. And that means the army supply of Clem is deadly right now. His ghost hit squad. He's got 16 ghosts. He's got 8 Marauders and 9 Marines with 14 Widowmines. This should tell you what units are valued by Terrans at the end of the day. 49 SCVs have gone down. The minerals have been mined, and that means the Zerglings can slip through here. A small bio army still working its way forward, getting some counter damage done. Dark not going unscathed, but he's dealing it out much harder than he's getting dealt it. Right now, that ghost-based army, it's up to Clem to be incredibly cost-efficient. Still, somehow, Dark, as units are getting cleaned up. He's lost a handful of drones, but let's make no mistake. that most of the damage was to Clem here. Oh my god, Burrow Banes! It's happening! Oh, he gets the ghost! No, but the classic scan afterwards, that is just obligatory, like, well, now you'll never catch me again. Yeah, it's a little late. It looks like you locked the barn door after the Banelings were burrowed inside the barn and everyone died in an explosion of acid. That's what it looks like to me. I can't... that actually... How many ghosts? 19 ghosts have died. At least 6 or 7. Along with some Widowmines. Those critical units that Clem has been relying on. Suddenly, the supply has been within 20 or 30 for the last 10 minutes or so. But that undercut, finally, a huge commitment. And huge, I mean like a medium commitment. There's a dozen Banes or so. But it works. And in a game like this... You're not going to use Burrow Banes as your strategy. And usually, you get one shot. Because you're rarely going to get another. And usually it's such a distraction for the Zerg that it ends up panning out for the Terran. But here, in this top tier match, Dark makes it work. Clem caught off guard because there's just so much going on. You're not thinking about it. You're not expecting it. And that's the most dangerous thing. Dark now spreading creep, once again starting to assert control on the map. 54 more Zerglings complementing the 90 on the field. There's just not... Like, Clem's gonna have one more army. Unfortunately, he's been fighting with an even economy and an even army throughout this match. It hasn't been enough. Dark now has a better army and a better economy. So... I say that as a very leading point. And here we are. This is happening. Oh, he targets the SCVs. No hazard pay for them. Because they're dead. That was the joke. +3 ranged attack on the way. Clem now has to slow things down. He's kind of obligated to do so. The snipes have about the same range as the lurkers, but you do need the detection and the vision up to the high ground. Really, for both sides here, because of obviously the lurkers. Just slowly cutting through the rocks. Oh, that's maybe a few too many. The firing squad, though, drags it over the lurkers. Clem just sniping his way down the ramp, but the Zergling counterattack. Clem forced to reposition. Widowmine's going to try to hold their ground. An interesting choice to go for Burrow Banes. Gets scanned out as well. I mean, not Burrow Banes. In fact, Dark has 16 Banelings. I'm not sure where they are. They could be anywhere. What a match, though. Still, I think Dark has been over 100 Zerglings in this match. Longer than he hasn't. Which is just kind of incredible. From start to, well, now... I have no idea what finish looks like, besides Cyril, but at this stage, Clem is he's running out of minerals. He's running out of his main, his natural's gone, his third is gone. He can no longer afford to just try to punch back across the map. He has to rely on the ridiculous cost efficiency of Widowmine Ghost, which means you have to be careful, you have to scan every step of the way. You have to use those ghosts for all they're worth, and then ideally as much more as you can. The Widowmines have to find the good connections. Command centers have to be a little optimistic about where they're going to actually expand to. Where are you going? That's creep. He sees you. But is there anything to shoot it? There are no Hydras left, awkwardly, so... Oh, the Widowmines will get mostly negated here by a handful of Zerglings. We'll see. Yeah, Dark's going to use that opportunity. Those ghosts... Oh, they're in a pretty rough spot here. Dark is tumbling in. The minerals forming a choke point for both sides. Picks up. Gets out with the army. The command center ripped to pieces. The choke point devastating for everyone involved. Clem whittled down his army. Crumbling. He still has the core of it. The Banelings crashing through. Dark, not willing to let a good advantage go to waste. Smashes the planetary. Takes the high ground. Obliterates the SCVs. And forces Clem into even more of a corner than he was before. The lurkers, like, using scans right now, not ideal. So if the snipes don't go off on the lurkers, the ghosts get their energy back. So I think that is why Clem is not particular about how many snipes he uses. They're pretty smart about it there, making sure people get their shots off. Clem working his way forward. That was the desperate last push. Dark has smashed it. Dark with a masterclass in dismantling. It's, well, the inevitable. But I think at the end of the day, 1,000 Zerglings taken down. Dark lost more resources, but he mined 13,000 more. They mined within 2 gas of each other, fun fact. But at the end of the day, Dark used his advantages like a hammer to smash Clem into pieces. And I'm glad I was able to take a look at this match. This one, for you, YouTube, like, subscribe, ring the bell. And by for you, I mean uploaded directly, never before seen. From my perspective, at least. But I'm glad it has been now. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Ring the bell, like, subscribe. Look at all those videos. Imagine now with so much space on the screen, watching any of these amazing videos. How exciting is that? Jimmy, don't screw up the end screen. It's the... Okay, nobody actually clicks on it, but it's there to look professional. We all know that. Thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill. No, you gotta cut. Cut it. Edit.